How does it feel to be here tonight?
Yeah, I'm incredibly grateful to be here tonight. You know, it's not often that a South African gets to be in beautiful New York City, and definitely not often that a South African story gets told at the Tribeca Film Festival.
What do you want the world to learn most about your husband's story?
I think it would be hard to say what I want the world to learn most about my husband's story, but I think it's just important for South African stories in general to be more amplified because there is so much history in South Africa. There's so much heartache and struggles that South Africa has been through, and I really just think that Sia being so vulnerable in telling his story and really just opening it up to the rest of the world, that deserves respect. And I really just hope that people. Yeah, that people get to see a different side of him because rugby is this like big, like rough sport, but just like this incredible, vulnerable man that's behind all of that roughness, I think is incredible. And I think it's just the importance of just being able to tell a South African story. Trevor Noah's been able to do so much amazing stuff and really just put us on a different platform. But yeah, just the fact that Sia is able to do that through his sport and all of the challenges that he faced as a child, and all of his achievements now as an adult.
When did you know you wanted to be a part of Sia's story?
Oh my God, since the beginning. I've always been a massive fan of Sears. Before we knew about the movie, I'm South African. I watch rugby. I support the team, the province he plays for. So he was always a massive. He was a hero of mine. And then Rock Nation got hold of me and asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was just like, "Are you kidding?" So yeah, as soon as they phoned me, I knew I wanted to be part of it. Yeah.
As far as being South African, how important was it to you to showcase the culture within the
Yeah, super important. We knew it was going to go international. I don't know how we knew that, but we had a feeling it would, and obviously having Rock Nation behind us helps. So it was, sorry, can you repeat the question?
How important is it to showcase South African culture?
Super important. We're all South African. We want to showcase South Africa at all times. There's some amazing South Africans out there doing incredible stuff, and often we don't get the exposure that I think the South Africans deserve. Our sportsmen do, but there's designers, there's artists, there's so many people. South Africa has so much to offer. So I think it's always important for us to try and showcase South Africa in all our work.
And lastly, is there anything else that you learned about Sia?
Oh, I learned so much about Sia. You have no idea. Some of it I probably can't say. He's just the most humble guy. He's such a great role model for the country. I think I really learned how down to earth and human he is, which was, you often look at these guys and they're rock stars, and getting to know him and how down to earth he was a massive eye opener.
I know that I wanted to be part of Sia's story. I think everybody wanted to be part of Sia's story. From the moment he started playing, everybody knew that this kid was special and was going somewhere. So everybody wanted to be part of it. Every storyteller wanted to tell the story. How it ended up on my lap, only God knows. But I'm excited that I was trusted with that big responsibility to tell the story. But from day one, ever since we saw him play, all of us wanted to be part of it. Because his story is our story. His story is every South African kid's story. In fact, now, as the world is going to see, his story is a global story. Yeah.
How important was it just to not only showcase his story, but just South African culture as a whole?
Yeah, I think because you can't really divorce his story from the essence of what South Africa is. In fact, when you watch the film, you'll notice that I parallel the growth of South African democracy to his growth, right? And so you get to see that the man was made by the land, by South Africa, and now in turn he's sort of making South Africa. In turn, his life sort of reunites a country that's got so much problems and issues and poverty and racial tensions. But this one man who was raised and grew by this country is now growing this country. And so it was very important for me to show that you can't divorce his story from the story of South Africa.
Lastly, before I let you go, was there a favorite part throughout the directing process?
Yeah, I think the opening scene. So the opening scene is a 2-minute story of a, spoiler alert, is a 2-minute narration from this lady that named him, that gave him the name. And in fact, the lady gave him the name, and then a month later she went blind. And in fact, Sia thought she had passed on. So when we were shooting the movie, we were almost done filming, and then we realized that she hadn't passed on, she was still alive. And so I went to go find her an interview and ask her about how she named Sia. And that story about how she named Sia is fascinating. And now she's blind. And the last image, vivid image that she remembers is Sia as a baby. And so for me, that was my favorite part.
Is there anything new that you've learned about South African culture after watching the documentary?
You know, listen, ever since meeting Sia Kolisi and working on this project with him and Rachel, I've learned so much about South Africa. And when you think about South Africa, you think about the people, you think about Sia, you think about Rachel, you think about spirit. You think about people that do whatever it takes to overcome challenges. You think about people that will do whatever it takes to be successful. And when you think about Rise and you think about the challenges that Sia Kolisi had to overcome to get to where he is today, we shouldn't even be here tonight. When you think about the magnitude of the challenges. And people will watch this film. It's not a sports film. It's a film about overcoming challenges and achieving greatness, commitment, sacrifice, challenges. It's so inspirational.
Sports players from other parts of the world and making it a part of the Rock Nation brand?
I mean, I think it's very important. You know, we've got so many athletes that come from different cultures. And it's important that they understand where other athletes come from, the challenges that they go through to get to where they are. You know, here in America, while many, many athletes have to overcome challenges, you can't compare that to a story like Sia Kolisi. Sia Kolisi didn't have his first meal, full meal, until he was 11 years old. Sia Kolisi walked to school with no shoes. Sia Kolisi was a malnourished child. And so most athletes here in America don't have to overcome those challenges. We'll see that tonight in Rise, and it's truly, truly inspirational.